Hello, and welcome to Psychology Demystified. People all over the world who deal with narcissists have come up with different ways to deal with different narcissists. Because as I always say in many of my videos, humans are not cut and paste. But there are certain ways that I handle narcissists when I come across them. So how do I handle narcissists? The narcissists are not going to like my response. And my response is that I deal with narcissists, so I handle narcissists the same way I would a child who is experiencing their terrible twos. In the same way children do, a narcissistic adult tends to bend the truth. Narcissists tend to believe, or at least act like they believe, whatever they're saying is the absolute truth at that particular point. And it doesn't matter if what they're saying is contradictory. Unlike innocent children, though, adult narcissists have inconsistencies and manipulations that have greater consequences for the people around them. So if you walk in expecting a narcissist to behave in a manner that is responsible, you're going to be highly disappointed. When an adult narcissist starts to feel like you've called them out, or like they are humiliated or slighted, or they start to feel inferior in any way, that is when they revert to a childlike state and then start throwing tantrums like a child who is in their terrible twos. It's not surprising that this kind of regression happens within an adult narcissist, because narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, is something that actually develops due to early trauma or family influences that can leave a person emotionally stuck in a very young age. Unlike a child, though, an adult narcissist will use a sophisticated version of a childlike response. I'm going to use an example of catching a child taking a snack that you've told them not to take. When you catch them in the act, a child will respond in one of the following, or many of the following, predictable ways that I'm about to mention. One of the reactions you might get is that the child blames someone else and then says, "But I didn't know you're watching, so it's not my fault." Another thing a child may say is that they didn't have any choice. And they say, "But I was starving." Another one is that they might actually pretend that they don't know what you're talking about and then ask you, "What snack?" They might also come back at you with all the good things that they've done by telling you, "But I stared at them for a really long time before I took one." Or you might get crying or acting like a victim, where they say, "It's not fair. I'm always the one who gets caught." The child might also get mad at you and call you mean. Or they might try and charm you with their hand in the jar by saying, "Oh, but I love you." The child might also minimize and throw down whatever snack you told them not to pick up and say, "But I don't even like that kind of snack." Some children, when they're busted, hide or run away. There are also some kids who will ignore you, even as you catch them. And of course, the age-old, tried and true, throwing a tantrum. Now, when I mention those examples for children, when you start thinking of the narcissists that you think you know in your life, or that you genuinely do know, are any of those responses familiar when you catch them in the act, when they feel slighted, when they feel embarrassed, or when they feel stressed? Are any of those familiar for the adult narcissist that you might know, or think you might know, or are thinking of right now? I hope they seem familiar, because the childlike responses that I mentioned to being busted in the act they actually bear an uncanny resemblance to the tactic a narcissist might use when they want to manipulate others, or when they want to avoid responsibility, or when they want to deflect. In summary, they were blaming, making excuses, pretending, seeking credit, playing the victim, denying, attacking, distracting, charming, minimizing, withdrawing, stonewalling, or even acting out or throwing a tantrum. So why would an adult go back into these childlike responses? It's simple: to avoid blame and to avoid shame. So now that you know how to envision them as they have any of those childlike responses as an adult, here are some strategies that might work based on the adult that you're dealing with. The first one is that I give choices. I think of myself as being in a crowded restaurant with a child, and it's crowded and I'm in a hurry. When you're trying to be in a hurry, you don't go and ask a child, what would you like to eat? Because then you will have to wait for an answer forever. Instead, you'd ask a child, do you want fish? Do you want chips? Do you want this? And they have to choose between them. That's giving them choices. So in that same way that I give that child a choice by not asking freely, what do you want, but giving specific choices, give an adult narcissist suggestions of options that they can choose from. Because when they then choose, then they feel like they are the ones who are in control of the situation. Remember, control is key for an adult narcissist. The next thing I do that is important for my mental health and definitely for yours is do not personalize their behavior. Do not. When a child pouts with me, I just know that they are finding a way to express themselves in a very youthful manner because they haven't yet learned how to self-soothe. But with time, I know that they will learn how to self-soothe. However, an adult narcissist is someone who cannot self-soothe. Because an adult narcissist has not learned how to self-soothe, what happens is that they will, when they start to feel embarrassed or disappointed, these feelings overwhelm them and then they act out. And then that's why you find some adult narcissists actually pouting as well. When they reach this stage, trying to attempt to have or experience or see any adult behavior out of this person who has gone back to their 2-year-old self is just going to leave you frustrated and upset and truly mad. So what do? Don't personalize their behavior. Don't personalize what they're saying. Let them finish. Envision them as a 2-year-old and let the pouting moments finish. The third one is that I always recognize that narcissists always have an alternate reality. I know for a fact that narcissists like to change facts so that they can suit them and make them look good. They construct things to suit their sense of entitlement, their lack of empathy, and also to get whatever they want at any cost, whether they have to step over someone or on someone in the process. And because I recognize this behavior as childlike and inconsistent, I then just view it as someone going through their fantasy world, and I let them go through it and I choose not to engage. Because all you do then is that you start experiencing what it feels like for an adult to have a long and lengthy argument and conversation with a 2-year-old. Some of you may have been thinking this was going to be a really long list of how to handle narcissists, but it's not. I believe sometimes short, sweet, and simple is the way to go. So I only gave you 3 because those are the 3 that I have used and that seem to work when I'm dealing with narcissists. There are very many others that I do use when dealing with various people, but I didn't think that giving you a long list was going to be impactful or helpful. This list was more for you to be able to figure out how to not let the narcissists you come across or the ones who are in your lives become your story and impact your day. If you use those 3 strategies, especially the one where you do not personalize their behavior, a narcissist will have at least a little less impact on you than they would if you didn't have any strategies to use. And that's all, folks. So remember to stay safe. Remember to wear a mask when you leave the house. Please be kind to people you meet because you don't know what they're going through. And hugs and kindness always.